Aaron Rodgers. Why aren't we talking about Ben Roethlisberger? Why aren't we talking about Drew Brees? Could be somebody else. We just had a caller in our last segment say a non-quarterback, which is really shaking up the foundation, going with Alvin Kamara, but he made a great point that literally Kamara can do anything and everything on the football field. It's Keyshawn, J. Will, and Zubin coming to you live from above the Heineken River deck at Pier 17.
If he had 1,500 rushing and 1,500 receiving, then that'll push him in there.
Kind of like that Roger Craig, right? 1,000 receiving, 1,000 rushing. That's very rarely been done.
1,000 receiving and 1,000 rushing is not going to get him there.
Right. Not in today's NFL.
Not in today's NFL. But he's got to – you think about running backs that have won the MVP, it's all 2,000-yard guys. Mm-hmm. So there you go.
Right. Adrian Peterson being the last. Let's bring in Dan Orlovsky, our ESPN football analyst, dozen years in the league on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. Good morning, Dan. First things first, we got to mention that our Dr. Pepper Twitter feed this morning is who is the MVP. Patrick Mahomes is running away with our listeners, callers, and viewers. Who is your front runner for MVP right now?
Yeah, it's Patrick Mahomes. I kind of started feeling that way last week when I started to just hone in on what was going on with that position in the NFL. And then if you look at his last 2 weeks, he's got like 900 yards and 9 touchdowns. And honestly, Z, he's just playing like 80% of how good he can be playing, just mainly because they know they're better than everybody else, so they're kind of just going through their games. He hasn't even needed to turn the switch on, but their playbook is just so unlimited with him. And he's the leader right now. I'd say Patrick's at 1, probably Rodgers at 2. I would put Russell at 3, Josh Allen 4, Tom Brady 5.
Yeah, I'm that top 3. I mean, I don't care about the third, the fourth, or the fifth guy, though, Dan. The top 3, we're on the same page with that. And that's only because Russell Wilson obviously lost to Buffalo yesterday, and he didn't play bad, didn't play great.
But Key, who did he lose to? Who did he lose to? Who played quarterback for Buffalo yesterday?
Okay, now here we go. You getting ready to go with that Dan wagon again.
Get him, Dan.
You getting ready to go with that. I didn't hear your mouth for 3 weeks.
I'm just asking, Key. I'm just asking, who did Russell play and lose to yesterday?
Get him,
Dan, but don't try me, because I didn't hear you say a peep for the last 3 weeks. But here, let's stay with the quarterbacks for a minute. You and I talk about this when we're together on NFL Live. What the hell is wrong with Lamar Jackson? Like, what is wrong with him in terms of throwing the football?
Yeah, I mean, I think if you go back to last year and what they excelled with, or what he excelled with throwing the football, it was work in the middle of the field and the play action pass. And so much was predicated on their run game, was everything looked the same. And so they would get these gashing throws. Now, he made a ton of plays outside of the pocket and then also in their empty package. And the reality is they don't have the same personnel. Their run game's not nearly as good. If you watched that game yesterday against Indy, there was a bunch of penetration that happened early. He was not good in their RPO game. I'd say this, Key, and you guys know this, like, last year, they threw when they wanted to, right? Like, they threw when they wanted to. And it was just, we would show a defense run, and we would throw out of it. And this year, they're throwing a lot of times because they have to. The defenses are dictating to them. And Lamar's just not that player right now. He's just not that player yet. And when you can't consistently throw the ball to every part of the field, 53 1/3, sideline to sideline, and still, at least somewhat downfield with your ability to push the ball in explosive plays, you're limited in your pass game. Lamar and this offense is limited. You can't throw the ball outside, and you can't create chunks in your pass game. And he doesn't have the little things that a guy like, let's say, Drew Brees. Drew's got those little things in his game where timing, he's the best timing quarterback in the NFL. His ability to manipulate defenders with his eyes, he's the best eye, manipulator in the NFL. Lamar doesn't have that in his game, and so when you're kind of limited with what you can do with the ball and then the kind of uncoachable things, your pass game is going to be very, very basic.
Let me ask you this real quick, Dan. Can they win a Super Bowl?
No.
Okay.
No, and I didn't think they would before the season. I thought missing out on the 3 tight end package and Yanda, not having that, I don't think they're good enough to win a Super Bowl.
Dan, you said last night, this is the worst offensive game plan I have seen from any NFL team all season, and I've watched every Jets snap at Buccaneers. This is 2 in a row like this. Tell me what you mean.
Well, first of all, watching the Jets makes you appreciate, how poor some coaching game plans are. And then you watched last night with the Bucs, and you're going, okay, first snap of the game, you single up your rookie tackle against Cam Jordan, excuse me. That's stupid. Like, it's the first snap of the game. Don't do that to your rookie tackle. And then the first third down of the game, your second pass attempt, you get into a 3-by-1 set. The Saints are playing man-to-man coverage, and you throw a 3-yard out route, a stick route to Rob Gronkowski. What? Like, Rob Gronkowski has showed you very clearly this year, don't ask him to break down in his routes. That's not what he can do. Just keep his body moving. So you're going to have him do a route where he's got to chop his feet and run away from a defender? That's a terrible game plan. The second series, they get to 2nd and 20 because of penalty. It happens. They throw a 5-yard pass. Was your goal to get to 3rd and 15? Because on 3rd and 15, you throw a screen pass. Like, what was the goal in that 2-play series? The third series, they get the third down. It's like they don't have any concept of the ability to motion, create matchups, create leverage. They just break the huddle, line up, and like, hey, this is how we're going to line up, guys. You can cover us up. This is what you got. It's just poor game planning. Like, you watch teams in the NFL and how they game plan, you're like, man, they got a really good pace of what they can do, and they know how to attack the defense. And yesterday it was Tampa Bay, Bruce Arians, and Byron Leftwich going, you know what, we're just going to throw plays against the wall and see if they'll work. And they weren't working, and all of a sudden you're like waiting for an adjustment. Show me the adjustment. Do something different. And there was never anything done differently. And this is the second time in a row. This is the second game plan in a row that they've been out-coached by the other team.
So how much of that onus do you put on Tom Brady as opposed to the coaching staff?
Yeah, that's a good question. RC brought that up today, and I think we're going to get into it on Get Up a little bit. Like, I can't put this on Tom Brady because he didn't play defense. He didn't have bad eyes with Jamal Dean. He didn't not have the ability to get after Drew Brees. Now, offensively, like Tom used to motion a ton in New England, and they haven't done it a lot in Tampa. Maybe it's because Bruce Arians doesn't know it or whatnot, or they're not comfortable doing it. There's got to be some burden kind of borne by Tom Brady to go, okay, what we're doing isn't working. Like, I can't imagine he loved that first third down call. I just can't imagine him going, you know what, that to Gronk was our best option.
Well, talking about best options, Chicago Bears are running out of options, and so is Matt Nagy, right? Dan, I think when you look at what they have left, there's no Mitch Trubisky banged up. They got to stick with Foles. Is Matt Nagy job security on the line right now?
Oh, for sure. All eyes are on Matt Nagy and Ryan Pace, their general manager. Listen, the kind of the blame, you can't throw it at Mitchell Trubisky anymore, guys. And I remember all last year going, you're using Mitchell Trubisky the wrong way. But Matt Nagy, this is what you wanted. This is the bed that you wanted to lay in. You wanted to run this offense that you learned from Andy Reid. You wanted to run this Kansas City Chiefs offense when it's the ball distribution at quarterback. This is the quarterback that you chose, and this is the style of the ball that you wanted to play. It's on you now, because you can't blame the young Mitchell Trubisky failed draft pick anymore. And you can't tell me that Chicago's weapons are terrible. You can't. Allen Robinson's a good, solid player. Jimmy Graham's okay. Montgomery's a good, solid back. Anthony Miller's a good player. Mooney's a good player. Like, they got decent skill players. And no, their offensive line's not great, but I've seen coaches mitigate bad offensive lines before. Matt Nagy's not doing that. And so all eyes, because the reality is this is a championship level defense. This is a playoff caliber defense. And right now they're sitting back watching their head coach and play caller fail them and going, you're not doing a good enough job. Because we've seen it with two different style of quarterbacks right now. We've seen the failure with the athletic young quarterback, and we've seen the failure with a pocket passing play action quarterback. Complete failure by Matt Nagy. And there's no one else to blame anymore. You can't bench the quarterback anymore. He's already there. So all eyes on Nagy and Ryan Pace.
Dan, two young quarterbacks squared off yesterday, obviously Tua and Kyler Murray. How do you see their futures going?
I see both of them winning MVP of the NFL at some point. That's how good I think these two young players are. And I got to apologize to the Dolphins organization because I thought no way they should play Tua. I just thought Ryan Fitzpatrick's playing too well. You got a playoff caliber football team. I want him to get healthy. That would be the worst decision of my life, Key. I wanted him to get healthy. And then I watch I watched last week, and he didn't need to do much, but he showed some signs. Like, there's 3 plays last week that look good, and then when I watched yesterday, I go, holy smokes. He looks like the kid that Alabama, when they would, when he looked like he was the best player on the field when he was at Alabama, that's what he looked like yesterday. Ball coming out on time, ridiculous. And Key, you've probably heard me say this before. There's a difference in the NFL quarterback from being accurate and having great ball placement. A lot of quarterbacks are accurate. Having ball placement is what it looks like when you're Drew Brees. Or Russell Wilson, where you can walk it out to receiver and throw it exactly where you want to, and you just hand it to him. That's what Tua looked like yesterday. And now I'm going, man, he looked like a difference-making playmaker at the position, and I'm going, the Dolphins are in the playoffs. I mean, they're 5-3 right now, and they're going to be in the playoffs. Their schedule is not brutal, and they were absolutely right to put Tua on the field.
Mm-hmm. There's no doubt about it. Right now, if the playoffs started today, of course they don't, but we love saying that as sportscasters. If the playoffs started today, the Dolphins would actually be in the 7 spot. And remember, this year there are 7 teams in the playoffs. We got Tua and Kyler yesterday. We'll get Tua and Herbert next week. And for everything Tua did, the best thing he did yesterday was a 17-yard scramble, and boy, did that probably feel good after that dislocated hip to help seal the victory, and the Dolphins go 5-3. We'll see it. Get up with Greeny and the gang. RC, Ryan Clark, 8 Eastern on ESPN. Dan, thank you so much.
Thanks a lot, Daniel.
Thanks, Theo.
Always great to have his perspective. So the NFL MVP, he's in lockstep with you guys. It's easy. It's Patrick Mahomes. We're asking you on the Dr. Pepper Twitter feed, is it Mahomes? Is it anybody else? Is it a non-quarterback?